I think we're live again. All right. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. As you come in, please let me know if you can see me and hear me. I can see me. I think I can hear me too. As you come in, please let me know if you can see me and hear me well. So I want this to be a great experience for everybody tonight. I can definitely hear me on this end. We have 1 minute until 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So feel free to come in and let me know who you are and where you're listening in from. Happy New Year to you. Hey, Desiree. Is it Desiree? Make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Thank you, Desiree. Yes, you can hear and see me. Get a little sip of my coffee. It is dangerous to drink coffee after 6 o'clock. Very dangerous. So we'll see if I get to sleep tonight. Desiree, let me know where you're tuning in from. Hi, Mira J. Mira J, can you hear me and see me too? Perfect. Okay, so it's 7:01, and I don't want to take up much of anybody's time this evening. I am Dr. Macie Smith, and Happy New Year. I made a promise. I don't make New Year's resolutions, but I do have goals that I set for myself. And one of the goals I set for myself this year is to go live in 2025. I did not mean for that to rhyme, but since it did, okay, we're going to roll with it. And YouTube was the best platform for it. I want to thank each of you for tuning in and commenting on the videos I've been posting. Over this past year, I've been getting some great engagement. You all have lots of questions. You have great insight. And, some of the comments, have been a little, borderline raunchy, but, we're not going to talk about those. We just overlook those and we pray for those and we keep about God's business, right? And so it led me to believe and to continue to know that there are people out here who are in need of practical support, strategies, and also resources when you're caring for someone living with dementia. It is not easy, it is difficult. If someone tells you that it is easy, um, they're probably hiding something. Now, it is rewarding work because you want to ensure that you're providing care to someone you love. And in some cases, you don't want nobody to do it but you, right? So it is rewarding work, and you definitely have to have the support that you need. And so I want to be able to be that vessel for you and for this community. I want our YouTube channel to be a community. So I am a gerontologist. So a gerontologist, when you think of geritol, you typically think of the tonic that older people would drink when they have ailments, or if they just want to cure themselves of all types of conditions. They drink that Geritol. I don't even know if they still sell Geritol, but anyway, so I teach at a university, and them kids, the millennials and Gen Zs and they don't know nothing about what I'm talking about. But I specialize in providing care for those over the age of 65, so seniors and their family caregivers, because as we age, especially in America, we are going to need some level of support. It could be with supervision, it could be with our ADLs, it could be with um, instrumental activities of daily living. That means doing the laundry, cooking, cleaning, transportation, shopping. We're going to need some level of support. And so I pride myself, and I make it a practice to ensure that my family caregivers have the support, the information they need in order to be a well and healthy caregiver for the one they're supporting, but also to make sure that they're healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, so that way they won't increase their risk of developing dementia. So, as a gerontologist, I provide support for seniors and their caregivers on navigating the long-term care system, what that looks like, where supports come from, and connecting them to those supports. Doing follow-up to make sure those areas are being provided appropriately. Now, I am not a geriatrician. I've seen some comments that said, why should we listen to her? She's not a licensed doctor. No, I'm not a licensed doctor, but I'll tell you what I am. I have an earned doctorate in higher education leadership with a specialization in adult education through Nova Southeastern University. I am a licensed in the state of South Carolina social worker, and I have a certification in gerontology, which makes me a gerontologist. So I just kind of laid it out for you. Since I talk about health conditions, I make sure I state in my credentials that I have an EDD so that people won't think that I am a medical doctor. I actually had someone come to a training I did with his prescription, and he wanted me to change his prescription. And I said, "No, I ain't that type of doctor. Now I can connect you with the doctor that could help with that, but I wasn't, that wasn't me." And so it reminds me of this narrative that's going around. I don't know if you guys have seen this about Dr. Cheyenne Bryan. I think I'm saying her name right. So everybody, a lot of people are saying, okay, she's not a licensed doctor. She's not a medical doctor. She's not a licensed therapist. Now, outside of one place, on one interview, I heard her refer to herself as a psychologist, which means you have to have a license. But outside of that, she never referred to herself as a medical doctor or a licensed therapist. She is a doctor because she has an earned doctorate from Advocacy University, which is what her bio says, but she is degreed in psychology, which is why she provides, relationship advice. And so I don't want to be in the same boat that y'all have put her in terms of whether or not somebody is a real doctor or not. And so again, I am not a geriatrician. A geriatrician actually provides medical support. So they are actually medical doctors that specialize in providing care to those over the age of 65. If you are providing care for someone over the age of 65, or if you are over the age of 65, you should have a geriatrician. A geriatrician is a specialty doctor, just like a neurologist, just like an oncologist. A geriatrician is the medical doctor that treats the senior population. Now, if you go and try to Google geriatricians in your area, you might find a very slim list, if you find a list at all, because geriatricians in this country, in America, is few and far in between with the number of seniors we have. And if the millennials haven't surpassed that population, that still is the largest population. So as I see you're chiming in from Ontario, Canada. Thank you for being here. I've done some interviews over in Canada, and the healthcare system is different. I think y'all have universal healthcare over there. We do not have universal health care here in the US, which makes providing long-term care very, very difficult. So let me explain to y'all what long-term services and supports are. LTSS. That is non-medical care that is provided to someone for the long term to ensure that they can uh, have a quality of life in the least restrictive environment. So, long term services and supports include a non-medical support person, such as we call them here, a personal care aide or a home care aide, someone who's not licensed, like a licensed nurse or even a CNA. They are just trained through that agency to provide non-medical, either hands-on care or hands-off care. So the hands-on care could be providing them assistance with bathing, dressing, their oral hygiene, instrumental or hands off ADLs, activities of daily living, again, transporting them to the store, shopping for them, doing laundry, grooming, things of that nature. Cleaning, the house, sweeping, what have you, mopping, all the household things that we just don't like to do, but we do it because we have to. We want our house looking good and smelling good. And so Medicare does not pay for that, and traditional insurance, health insurance, does not pay for that. Long-term services and supports also includes assisted living, so out-of-home placement. So if someone goes to the nursing facility or an assisted living facility, typically Medicare does not pay for that, and typically third-party insurance does not pay for that unless it's short-term. They can go into a nursing facility short-term and Medicare will pay for a certain number of days. But for long-term care, Medicare doesn't pay for it. Traditional health insurance doesn't pay for it. Now, Medicaid, in most states, Medicaid would pay for long-term services and supports, but the senior would have to qualify for it. They would have to meet level of care, which means that the level of care that they need requires someone else to provide assistance, and they must also meet financially. So they cannot go over a certain amount. Here in South Carolina, that rate is around $2,000. And so you want to be mindful what type of insurance your senior has. Now, long-term care insurance will pay, and I'll preface that, will pay for long-term care and long-term services and supports. However, every plan is not created equally. I've had some plans that I called it the Cadillac of plans that paid for everything. I've had other plans that paid for nothing. In fact, this was the crazy one here. A wife had long-term care insurance for her husband. He developed Alzheimer's disease. They would not pay out because they said that because she was the wife, she was going to be providing these services for him anyway. Now, what kind of discriminatory is that? But those are the types of plans that were written. You will be hard pressed to find a long-term care plan now. A lot of insurance companies don't even provide those anymore. And if they do, you're not going to be able to pay for it. So you're asking, okay, so how does one pay for long-term care? How does a senior pay? How do family members pay out of their own pockets? Well, we don't make enough. Exactly. That is where the problem comes in. The long-term care system and our healthcare system, especially for our senior population, does not work for us. And so that's why we do raise the alarm a lot on the needs of our senior population and what is not provided for them. And so typically family members pool their financial resources together. They also pool together their natural resources. You'll find that a lot of times family members take care of their loved ones at home and they, pool together their financial resources and kind of pay people to come in throughout the day and night mixed with their support, from sisters to brothers to aunties to nieces and nephews. Everybody pulls their resources together, and that's how they provide the long-term care that the person needs. But think about the older adult or the senior who does not have family. Maybe their family has died or passed on, or they just never had a family. I've had quite a few with no siblings, no children, no siblings. It's just them. And so that's when you'll find that the probate court or the family court may step in. So, in addition to being a gerontologist, I'm also a guardian ad litem and a court appointed guardian. I love the work that I do. So, typically, the judge calls me in, or a family may call me in when a senior some or an older adult or an adult with a disability may have been abused, neglected, or exploited. Typically, the ones that I have, it's financial exploitation, and it's typically at the hands of a family member. Financial exploitation is the most common type of abuse when it comes to the older adult population, and it's typically 90% at the hands of a family member. And so I advocate for the individual's best interest, not necessarily what they want, but what I feel they need based on the assessment that I do in interviewing and ensuring that everybody is a part of that process. So, in that, I collect and gather empirical data, which is information that I attain through actually working with families. And I've been doing it now for almost 25 years, working directly with families, working with the court system, working with the medical system, working with the financial system. If you are not on your loved one's bank account, and they are over the age of 65, especially if they may have some medical challenges, you need to be on that bank account. You may have a document where, somebody has signed and say, I want you to handle my affairs. But if it's not on that bank paperwork, the bank usually does not honor that. In addition to that, you want to have in place a healthcare power of attorney. A healthcare power of attorney will kick in when that person is either incapacitated or cannot cognitively express their needs and their wants. Now, a lot of times family members feel that if they have that healthcare power of attorney, that gives them dominion over that senior and that they tell that senior what to do, how to do, when to do it. It only goes into effect if the senior is or the person is incapacitated or cannot cognitively relay their needs, their wants, and their desires. Also, there's a durable power of attorney. You want to get a durable power of attorney to help with financial concerns, in addition to you being on the bank account and ensuring that those bank forms are done. Those are the two documents that you want to ensure you have in place. Now, I do highly advise you to get those documents completed with a certified elder attorney. Any attorney can probably do it, but I work with certified elder attorneys. They can get those documents in place fairly quickly for you. But I will tell you, the healthcare power of attorney in several states, you can actually print that document off of the website, and it's going to be your state's legal your state's legal association website. You can print off the healthcare power of attorney. In South Carolina, that document doesn't even need to be notarized, but in your state, it may need to be notarized. You can get that done fairly quickly, and you want to get that done before the person is in a position or at a point where they cannot express themselves or make their own decisions. Right. So those are the forms you want to get in place immediately. And so I do what I do on an ongoing basis in order to prepare family caregivers on what the journey looks like and what to expect when it's time for them to provide care for an older adult, and or I prepare the older adult for what could be in store for them, especially if progressive types of dementia runs in the family, or if they may feel that something may be happening health wise and they want to get their affairs in order. These are the affairs you want to get in order before you need them. Many times we make bad decisions because we don't know what's available to us, right? And so we don't make informed decisions. My goal is to ensure that families across the globe have informed decision have information where they can make informed decisions on their loved ones affairs, and that's going to positively impact them as well. So that's why I started this channel membership. So when I talked about how Medicare and insurance doesn't pay for long-term services and supports, I provide geriatric care management services, and that does not pay for that either, right? And it bothers me that the insurance doesn't pay for that service. What I provide is one-on-one um, family support. It's almost like a concierge social worker. So I'm that family's personal social worker. Um, but that's a premium service that many people cannot afford to pay. And so as I was thinking about not my New Year's resolution, but just thinking about broader impact, my goal is never to impress, is to impact. And so one way that I feel that I can provide meaningful support to the masses of caregivers out there is to offer channel membership. So the channel membership that's here on my channel, Just Ask Dr. Macie, is where you can actually come into the room with me and you can ask your personal questions, and I will provide you with my personal responses, tools and tips, what I think might work for you and your loved one. I will actually also connect you to my resources that I have across the globe. I'll give you contact numbers, I'll give you websites, I'll give you the information as to what to say, what to expect, and follow up. We will meet regularly. That membership right now is only $199 per month. And so when you sign up for a membership on my page, Just Ask Dr. Macie, $199 per month, you will get exclusive access to my training videos, not the shorts, and not the shorter versions of my trainings, but you will get the full. Typically, it's around an hour training. So if you have not already become a member, you want to become a member, because I have videos out there already, and it provides, very specific, very practical, very matter of fact information about how to provide care and what to expect for someone who's living with Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's something that can be implemented that day. So you'll have one on one with me regularly throughout the month. You'll have access to the longer videos, seminars that I do, and instructional videos. And I also have a couple of other perks. I have 2 books that I've written. Just Ask Dr. Macie. So it is a dementia caregiver's guide to care, frequently asked questions. And my most recent book is a dementia caregiver call to action. As a member, you'll have access, if you have not already purchased the book, you'll have access to some downloadable options when it comes to those 2 books. And so that's the membership I'm offering, because I want to be able to give you the support that you need on a personal level. We've been able to engage great, very well on the channel. We'll continue to engage on the channel. I'll continue to post the shorts and the shorter videos. We'll have dialogue. So I appreciate that. But then what I've learned is that many of you have more pressing needs. Many of you have very specific things that you need that we don't need to discuss in a broader forum like that. And this is a resource that you may not have in your budget. And I understand that and I get that. This is a way that I'll be able to provide some, I would say, a version of the concierge services that I provide to families across the country for you for $99 per month. And we'll build community. We'll build community. We'll build a support network for you here. I'm very excited about it. You guys have got me so pumped up. This is my first YouTube live ever. And I'm excited about what's to come. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop your questions, your comments, um, any feedback you have for me. If there are some things that you want to see me cover on the channel in terms of video content, let me know. If there's some topics that you really just don't understand and you want me to cover it, let me know. I'll cover it. There are no 2 trainers or no 2 social workers or no 2 specialists that's going to explain things exactly the same. But what I will tell you is that when people are talking about dementia competent practices and or dementia compassionate practices, which is what I like to call it, there actually should be consistency in what's being said. It shouldn't be something that's like far off left. Now, let me say this now. There are some far off left things out there. It shouldn't be, but there are. I've heard some, and I'm open. I don't know everything. God knows. I am a lifelong learner, and we have to be a lifelong learner to be able to grow and expand and to just really strengthen our brain power, and just to strengthen ourselves as we evolve and as we engage. And so the idea is for consistency, but hey, I've heard some far left things such as, oh, Imma say it. I don't really wanna say it, but Imma say it. But, there is some talk about Alzheimer's being diabetes type 3. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but I'm not saying that that's far left, but that there is some talk about that. There's still a whole lot more work that needs to be done in that area and research that needs to be done in that area to actually say this is diabetes type 3. And then you don't want people to think that there is a cure for it because it has diabetes in the name. But there is correlation between diabetes and Alzheimer's disease and other progressive types of dementia because Alzheimer's is only one type of dementia. Hi, Miss Green. Miss Green is a member, is now a channel member. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Definitely looking forward to connecting more. I'm actually going to put my email address in the chat. Let's see. Let's put it here. So if there is something that you want to discuss specifically in our sessions, our live talks with Dr. Macie member sessions, please email that to me. And that's info@dtconsultant.org. Email that to me, and I'll make sure we have that on the agenda to talk about and to cover. I will say, it will be a small group as people start to come on. As we continue to grow with our channel members, we may have even smaller groups to have discussions. But because, I mean, when you build community, that's priceless. When you have someone who's either currently going through what you're going through or someone who has been through what you've been through and they can provide insight, oh, that is priceless. That is the support, honey. In some cases, that's better than medicine. Having someone as a listening ear and then someone who can talk back to you in a language that you understand and can speak to what you're going through. That is, I'm telling you, my grandma, she actually had dementia, a progressive type of dementia. And even though I was in the industry and still am in the industry, I was still dumbfounded. It was just really hard to see someone who always had it together, who never missed a beat, always on top of her game, really, it's not even evolving into, but reverting to basically a shell of themselves. Really, it actually looks like the person is trying to understand the world around them because it looks as if they're staring into space, but they're really not. They're just trying to make sense of the world around them. And when they're like staring at you and it's looking like they're looking through um, glass, it's because they need your help. They don't need you to say one of the videos that's a very popular video on the channel is I said, stop asking them, do they remember? No, they don't remember. If they look like that, you know how you look when you don't remember something? You know that look. You'll be talking to somebody, having a great conversation, and they say, "Hey, do you remember when we went up north and we got that ice cream that tasted like, tree sap?" If you don't remember, you're gonna look just like this. And if the person is looking at you like you supposed to remember, what do we say? Yeah, I remember that. But they can't ask you no more questions because you really don't remember. So if they have that I don't know look, they don't remember. So as opposed to asking them if they remember, just tell them. You save a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress if you just tell them what it is that you want. Another video that's very popular on the channel is when I talked about the correlation between strokes and progressive types of dementia. So, dementia, again, is an umbrella term. I'm sure many of you have heard that. It's an umbrella term. You have an umbrella that goes over people. It covers a lot of different causes. Something has to cause dementia. If somebody has dementia, they don't just have it by just dementia. The very first thing you need to ask the doctor is what type of dementia they have, hands down. The most common type is Alzheimer's disease. The second most common type of dementia is vascular disease. Well, vascular dementia. Guess where vascular dementia comes from? Stroke activity. So a lot of times individuals will have mini strokes or TIAs, and you won't even know that they've had a stroke. Sometimes they don't even know that they had a stroke. And so having multiple mini strokes, it causes multiple lesions to the brain. It's causing brain damage. Whenever there is brain damage, that increases the risk of dementia, because dementia is um, defined as a group of behaviors or a set of symptoms that actually interferes with a person's cognitive ability. It interferes with their ability to do cognitive things. A lot of times we take for granted what our brain actually does because we just do it, right? But you don't just get to walk. You don't just get to swallow. You don't just get to type and talk and read. You have to have a fully functioning, accommodating brain to be able to accomplish those things. There are a lot of small tasks that have to take place, many tasks, in order to create this accomplishment. If a person has vascular lesions to the brain and it's causing brain interruption, which it does, it could cause vascular tangles. It could cause the plaque build up. It's going to interrupt information flow. So the information is not going to be able to connect at the synapses, right? To be able to tell your brain, won't be able to tell your body, okay, you're tired, sit down. If there's blockage there, it has to go a different route. And your brain might tell your body to keep walking, even though you're tired or even though you have a broke hip. So we just have to keep in mind that whenever there is something that causes damage to the brain or changes to the brain, that could be defined as dementia, but something has to cause it. Any questions for me? These are the things, again, that we will speak about in the member only chat. So we'll talk specifically about what you got going on in your life today. If you from this point on, as you join the channel, as you become a member, I want you to get a notebook and I want you to write down what happened today. For all caregivers, I want you to get a notebook so that way you can document the person's day. That's going to help you define what causes agitation. That's going to help you define what causes them to be sad, what they enjoy. Because as the disease progresses, slowly but surely, they're going to lose the ability to communicate effectively in a manner that you understand. They're going to start to build on the things that they have still. If they can't put their words together in a manner that you understand, then what they may start doing is using other words that may not make sense to you but make sense to them. And so you're going to have to decode those messages. That's what we call decoding the messages, right? And so your notebook is going to be vitally important. So I want you to grab your notebook. I want you to write down things that's going on with your loved one. I want you to write down your questions, and I want you to bring them to the members only chat. You can either bring the questions to the chat and put your question in the chat and we'll talk about it, or I guess I'll be talking about it individually, giving you those resources, giving you those tools and tips. If you want to email me early on before we meet, you can email me as well. I'll still do general lives like we're doing tonight for everybody else. We'll still do general lives, but it probably won't be specific to what your situation is, but we can still address certain things. But when I do a live talk with Dr. Macie, in general, we're going to talk about some of the hot button topics that are either up and coming or that's on the horizon again, or that's out there in our face and we got to deal with it. So we'll be touching on some hot button topics. It may come from the videos, it may not come from the videos, but it's still going to be meaningful information for you as a caregiver that you'll be able to use. The members only chat, again, will be very specific, and I'll be drilling down into what your concerns are and being able to give you, we're not going to leave this chat until you get the support that you need. And if it's something that you're going to need to try it and come back at the next members only chat, and let's see what worked and what didn't. Again, this is my way to provide you with geriatric care management services without the large price tag, because I'm not good with having information, having resources, having connections, and my families out there don't have it and they're out there struggling. We're not doing that no more. In 2025, we ain't doing that. Hi, is it North Carolina worker? I'm assuming NC is yeah, I'm assuming NC is North Carolina, but it may not be. Let me know if I'm wrong. Good evening to you. Sasha. Hey Sasha, thank you. So Sasha, you said you were in a car accident at 45 and you have a vascular injury. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, ma'am. Sasha, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you have not only the medication that you need, but the what we call compensatory strategies, meaning because medication ain't everything. I just want to let y'all know that. And I don't ever say really that medication is the last resort. It just depends on what you got going on. You always want to measure and weigh the benefits and the risks for whatever treatment strategies. Well, we all know when you go to the doctor, you coming out there with a prescription, right? But you want to have compensatory strategies, non-medical, what we call non-pharmacological strategies, when it comes to cognitive health. And I definitely am trying to encourage the narrative when we're talking about medical health and we talk about mental health. We have got to add cognitive health to the conversation, because cognitive health is not the same as mental health. They're two different things. Now they're interdependent. There is some synergy there, but they're not the same thing. Thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate you being here. I'm glad you found me too. Look, I'm glad I found you, and I'm glad you found me. I'm so looking forward to doing more live talks with you like this. And I can talk all day long about Alzheimer's, dementia, caregiving, aging, self-care. We didn't even get into that. Self-care, self-advocacy, advocating for yourself, advocating for your loved ones, what to expect when you're engaging with the medical system, because it is a system. I'm gonna tell y'all all the tricks of the trades that I know, and as I learn new information, I'm gonna share them with y'all too, because knowledge is so much power, especially these days when there is a threat to how we receive credible information. I'm a credible person. And if I give you some information that's incorrect, I'm gonna let you know, oh, I messed up on that one. Right. But typically I check my resources pretty well. I'm a uh, not necessarily an investigator, but I am an assessor. I like to say I am an assessor. I do psychosocial assessments all the time. I present in the court system all the time. And in fact, the judge actually will take my report over others' reports, because I am advocating and speaking on behalf and in the best interest of that vulnerable adult. Thank you, TT. TT is a member celebrating moments. I love that. And I like TT too. I always wanted a nickname, but nobody ever gave me one. So I guess I'm gonna have to make up one. You think I'm too old for a nickname? I think you can always have a little cute nickname, but that never happened for me. I don't know why. So any questions before we chime out for tonight? So again, we're doing channel, and I say we're doing, but I'm doing channel memberships to be able to give you support, give you personal geriatric care management, give you personal support in terms of information, education, tools, tips, strategies on how to provide care for someone who's living with dementia. If you know someone, or if you're experiencing early signs, or what you think may be early signs of dementia, this is for you too. Right. It's not just for caregivers, and it's not just for people who are experiencing cognitive decline, but it's for all of us. We have to build community around people who depend on other people for their care. The channel membership is only $1.99 per month, because again, when we can pull together our resources, I'm able to provide more care management support services to more people, and that way you can get the support you need. There are a lot of people out there, some of you on the line tonight, that don't have their support. You probably have never even heard of a geriatric care manager. That is a real thing, and I'm gonna tell you, I get down and dirty. I don't play about my people. I don't play about my seniors and I don't play about my caregivers. And so, even if your loved one is in a long term care community, such as a nursing facility or assisted living, I go there too. There's no place I do not go because they have done so much for us and they still have a whole lot of life to live, whether they have dementia or not. And it is our responsibility and it is incumbent upon us to ensure we make that happen for them. So, if I can be a vessel in that, I'm gonna be a vessel for that. And just so y'all know, my birthday is actually on World Alzheimer's Awareness Day. So I was built for this. I wasn't supposed to do nothing else but this. Even though I tried to go work at other places, but they didn't give me no job. So I said, you know what? I just got to make it happen with what I know, what I have, and the impact that I know that it can make on people's lives. Hi, Sharon. Sharon, you said you got so many questions. Your mom is experiencing cognitive decline. I am ordering your book this week. Thank you so much. And I want to know if you order the book or when you order the book, when we have our live chats, let's talk about it. If you have questions, again, I may not be able to get to specific questions when we do the general live chat, but if you become a channel member for 199 per month, we're gonna get down and dirty. We have no time limit. YouTube is not gonna cut us off, and I'm gonna make sure you get what you need. And I want you to report back, right? Because what that does, it helps me as a professional to be able to provide support for more family members. And so it's not just my expertise that we're going to be delving into. It's going to be your expertise as well. You're the one that's out there doing the work. Some of you are in other countries. You'll be able to provide feedback on what's happening in other countries and even in other parts of the state. We talk about, oh Lord, we definitely gonna get into this. Family caregivers not being compensated financially. I'm on a work group right now working on legislation to, number one, pay professional caregivers more money because they deserve more money and more benefits, because a lot of companies don't even give professional caregivers benefits. It's almost like they're contract workers. We can't do that. We depend on them too much. And also to provide financial support to our family caregivers who a lot of times are either can't work because they're providing care to their loved one, working limited hours, working part-time, or working contract work, and they don't have benefits. And so that is definitely a barrier and a detriment to families in our community, and it does play on and affects our economy. And so depending on what group of people I'm talking to, um, I have to show how this negatively impacts this group of people, right? The information that we share here will help me do the work that I do with legislation in the legal field, in the medical field, as well as helping you and helping others along the caregiving journey. So, again, I appreciate you all being here. I am super, super excited about being able to provide y'all this support. And I'm just so glad God gave me the epiphany, or just um, being able to recognize how I could utilize YouTube and this group of amazing people who, have been following me throughout this past year, to be able to provide you with personal geriatric care management through our channel membership. So I'm super excited about that. Thank you, Ocean Lover. I love the ocean too. I just can't swim, so I don't know how that goes. I like the way it sounds. Thank you, Donna. You're becoming a member tonight and you're ordering my books. Thank you so, so much. Yeah, the books can't sit on the shelf. Oh, yeah, this is the book here. I didn't even show this one to you. This is the most recent one. This is a dementia caregiver call to action, The Journey. I talk about what to do when you think something might be going on, how to build that team once you know something is going on, what to say to the doctor, what to expect, what's not true, right? And I'm just gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I tell my family caregivers, and exactly what I told my daddy when my grandmama has passed away, what I would tell my grandmama and my sister when they would listen to me, because I'm the baby, so a lot of times they wouldn't listen to me. My first book is this one, A Dementia Caregiver's Guide to Care, Frequently Asked Questions. And so a lot of times caregivers have a lot of the same questions. And so I just wrote them down in the book with my response, because can't nobody answer the questions like I answer the questions. So if you want a Dr. Macie response, then you want to get the books. And we're definitely going to dive into that and talk about that as well. Thank you, Sasha. So Sasha, you said you took all the B vitamins, omega 3, which helped a lot. I had 2 surgeries, one for broken nose, which helped a lot, and a second for, and I cannot pronounce that word, ligament. Okay, it sits between. Okay, um, okay. Okay, stopping your blood flow. Well, I pray that you are doing well and you're getting on the other side of it, so whereas you can be, it can be sustainable, right? And you can have the quality of life you so well deserve. So I'm looking forward to being able to connect with you more. So you become a member. You go to the channel, Sasha, and it should be a channel, a button there that says "Become a Member." Just when you go to my channel, just ask Dr. Macie. There's a button on the side that says "Become a Member." You just click that. Thank you, Ocean Lover. Oh, that is, oh my God, that is so great. So Ocean Lover says she's gonna, I don't know if she or here, I'm sorry. Ocean Lover is going to gift a loved one with the membership right now. I'm telling you, information and community is one of the greatest gifts you can give someone who's along this journey or who is set to become a caregiver. Now there are some people who are going to become caregivers who don't want to be a caregiver, but because they're in line, they're going to be a caregiver. And we're going to talk about what your responsibilities are as a caregiver, because some people think that they're not responsible. But I'm going to tell you exactly, when you accept that role as a caregiver, I'm going to tell you exactly what your responsibilities are so you won't be shocked. Sasha, what state was that in? You saw the tax benefit yesterday. What state? We've had a tax benefit for caregivers here in South Carolina. The problem is, many people, many caregivers don't know that there is a tax benefit from them, and they do not benefit from that tax benefit, and or they don't even see it because it's not that much. But we got to do better with that. It has to be significant enough. So let me know what state um you've seen that yesterday. So it must be a bill. So if it hasn't passed yet, it's not law yet. So it's a bill that's been introduced to give caregivers a tax benefit. Again, channel membership is only $1.99 per month, and we'll get into personal, individual situations and questions, whereas I can connect you to resources, connect you to the websites, tell you what to say, tell you what to expect, and a report back. If there's a point where I need to make a call, then I'll do that as well, because we're building community, and as a member, with the membership, I'm able to do those things with that. Really, pooling together those resources, almost like crowdfunding. When you crowdfund, you're able to provide in my case, a premium service to more people who don't have this particular service in their budget. The work that I provide, geriatric care management, is a premium service. It is private pay. Insurance doesn't pay for it, except if you have long-term care insurance, and many people don't have that. So this is my way to provide you with geriatric care management through the membership. In addition to that, I'll still be doing live talks in general on my YouTube channel. So I still want your questions as well. And we may be able to get to your questions during a general session. We may not, but we are going to talk about trending topics. We're going to talk about topics that are top of mind when it comes to family caregivers, seniors, aging in general, those living with Alzheimer's and dementia, and self-care. So if you have comments or questions or topics that you want to see me cover, I've dropped my email address in the chat. It's info@dtconsultant.org. I hope I put that right. Info@dtconsultant.org. Just email it to me, and I'll make sure we will cover it on the channel. You will members once you become a member, you will get notification when we're going to have our live membership session, which I can go ahead and tell you that now we will do that next week. And I did a poll, and many of you preferred Thursday or Friday at 7 p.m. for the live. So I will get that information to you as to whether it's going to be next week, Thursday or Friday, but we will be doing our membership only live session next week. Um, Outside of that, I will do a general live in the coming month. I'm thinking about doing that once a month, but I don't have a schedule for that yet. I'm so sorry. But we will still be engaging with my videos and our conversations and comments on the general session page. So continue to comment on the videos. I respond to everybody. Sometimes I respond to the people who don't have really nice comments, but I tend to just stay positive. Um, I don't delete the comments because sometimes I just want other people to see how ignorant other people are, just to be honest with you. So continue to comment on our videos. Thank you, Sasha. That was in Illinois. Okay, you're a paralegal. Wonderful, wonderful. Your work is very much appreciated. I can tell you with just working in the probate court system, very much appreciated. So thank you. Hi, BC. I can only read your initial. I don't have your name. So welcome to the chat. You said that you're a medical doctor and you became your mom's caregivers. It was the most challenging and rewarding experience I've ever had. Thank you for looking out for the elderly and the caregivers. Thank you so much. It is truly my pleasure. That's the only thing I know how to do. If it's a vulnerable situation, oh, I'm in there fighting tooth and nail for that. And see, I said earlier on the live when my grandma developed dementia, even though I've been in the industry at that time, I think I was in the industry probably 11 years at that time. It was still challenging for me. I was still, it was like I didn't know a lot of things because I was still playing the granddaughter role. I needed to transition into the licensed social worker role and get to work. And so it was very challenging. So as a medical doctor, you know exactly what I'm talking about because we treat other people, we don't treat our people, right? So when it lands on your doorstep, it looks totally, totally different. Hi, Sharon. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for this question. So Sharon says, is an MRI required to get a dementia diagnosis? And VC, I'm gonna let you chime in too. I know you may not be a geriatrician, but you can chime in here. So no, an MRI is not required to get a dementia diagnosis. But as you will read in my book, I take you through the steps that should take place in order to get a reasonable diagnosis of a progressive type of dementia. So a scan, it is recommended that a neurologist does a scan. It could be a CAT scan, could be an MRI. I'm not sure which one typically works the best. Typically, my individuals get a CAT scan, and a CAT scan can actually show atrophy. So it'll actually show brain deterioration. When we get into the chats, I'll actually show y'all pictures and videos and all that stuff. The scans will also show stroke activity. So a scan will determine if it's possibly vascular dementia because the neurologist would see the stroke activity. It'll also show that if there's any reduced blood flow to the brain. So it's not required to get a diagnosis, Sharon, but it should happen in order to get a reasonable diagnosis. I've had individuals go into their primary care doctor's office, and I'm not saying that a primary care doctor cannot diagnose a progressive type of dementia because they can, because a lot of times the primary care doctor would make the referral to the neurologist. If the person has other conditions, they may make a referral to, like, say, for example, the oncologist or a urologist, because have individuals who have recurring UTIs, which also plays a part in cognitive health and cognitive decline. And so what happens is the primary care doctor will refer the individuals to these different doctors, and all the reports should come back to the primary care doctor, and then the primary care doctor would make a diagnosis of dementia. That's what should happen. But honey, you can go into a primary care doctor's office, and if the person or the patient says, I can't remember nothing, I think I got dementia, the doctor will sometimes write a prescription for Aricept and say the person has dementia. And there's nothing illegal about it. Now, I mean, there's some morality to that, and there's some skill set to that. It shouldn't happen, but it does happen. So again, Sharon, it's not required, but ideally you would want a full workup to have a reasonable diagnosis of a progressive type of dementia because it could be something that's treatable. VC says, thank you for saying this, VC. There are different forms of dementia, so it depends on the type, and the clinical work varies based on the underlying cause of the cognitive decline. There are over 100 causes of dementia. So before we end tonight, I want you all to understand that dementia, again, is the umbrella term, and that there are different types or different causes of dementia. So you can tell that the person has dementia because of, language deficit, memory lapses, disorientation to time and place, inability to perform familiar tasks. Okay, all that may be dementia, but what's causing it? So if you or a loved one has a diagnosis of dementia, you want to ask your primary care doctor, what type of dementia is it? And I guarantee you, when you ask that question, that primary care doctor will, if he or she has not already, will refer you to a neurologist to get the CAT scan, not only the CAT scan, but the cognitive assessment. We're gonna dive deep into what that cognitive assessment looks like too. Now, I'm not gonna tell you the cognitive assessment because I don't want y'all cheating if y'all have to go and take that test, right? But I'm gonna tell you what that should look like. There's also advances in some new technologies and new diagnostic tools as well that you all may want to be you know you want to have information on, you want to be mindful of, because that may be an option for you or your loved one. Hi, T Legend. Welcome to the chat. I think my mother is dealing with dementia. We have a follow-up appointment with a neurologist soon. And let me say this, and I know it's not only like this in South Carolina. It is very difficult to get into a neurologist. So if you think you might need a neurologist in the very near future, go ahead and make that appointment. In South Carolina now, the wait time is like 3 months. Go ahead and get on that list. And you want to make the appointment. Even if the appointment is 3 or 4 months out, go ahead and make the appointment, but get on the waiting list because somebody might cancel and you can get in. Um, T Legend is also saying, however, she was just diagnosed with Graves' disease. Okay, and they're commonly diagnosed together. Yeah, and so I think it's great that you've identified that. You always want to identify co-occurring conditions. So when you identify co-occurring medical conditions, that's going to set the stage for what that treatment plan looks like. It is very dangerous to identify one area of medical need and not identify the other area of medical need, because when you're treating one area, you could worsen the other area, because you're not looking at the person comprehensively and providing the comprehensive care. And so I'm glad you're able to see the neurologist. You have the other diagnosis, and you can actually see how it will go hand in hand with the development of dementia and what that looks like. And it may not be, well, you'll have a better understanding that as the disease progresses, what that dementia may look like. That's why you need to know what type of dementia the person has. You'll have some doctors say, oh, well, you don't need to know what type of dementia you have or your loved one has. Dementia is dementia. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because there are different treatment strategies depending on the dementia the person has, and the expectation and the planning will also be important, because the caregiver and the family needs to know what to kind of sort of expect to help with the planning, what that living environment is going to look like, what the engagement is going to look like, what type of care what type of care is the person going to need, and what would that look like? Where will it be provided? And so you want to know what type of dementia the person has, because it's going to help you as a family member or caregiver plan for their care overall. Thank you all so much. Again, be sure that you check out the benefits of becoming a channel member. We're going to have one-on-one conversations. I'm going to provide one-on-one support for you, information, education, training, resources, connections. In some cases, we may need to do some monitoring. I'm going to give you the support that you need before you leave out of any member chat. Outside of that, I'll continue to post videos, continue to comment and engage with the videos. I'll do a general live chat every month, at least once a month, and we'll do member chats. We'll start off with a member chat once a month, and we'll see how that goes. If we get more members and we need more member chats, I'm going to do more member chats. You're going to dictate to me how often we need to meet as members and also in general. So members, you'll get the general live session with me, and then you'll also get the personable live session with me where we're going to have actual connections. I'm going to connect you to my resources, and then we're going to talk about, what your outcomes look like. Were the outcomes expected? Were they not expected? And what I can do to help better your loved one's journey and your journey as a caregiver. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight. T, I like saying we got a TT and we got a T. There should be a button on my channel when you go to the main page of my channel, and it'll say become a member, and you just click that button and you will automatically become a member. It's $1.99 a month. I want to say thank you to all of you who have become a member tonight. I want to thank the ones who became members earlier this week. I actually want to shout them out, but it like just disappeared from my phone, and now I can't find it. And I'm still learning this whole system. So if you are on the live tonight before we leave and you are now a member, send me a little heart, send me a little thumbs up, raise your hand, throw me out an emoji, let me know who you are, where you are, let the people know that you are now a member of the Doc Squad. And I will say, I started that term, the Doc Squad, had to be about 3 years ago. And I just like it. I like the way it rings. You are a member and a part of the Doc Squad. We are going to rally together to get you the support that you need. Um, I'm going to give you everything I got. I promise you. I promise you. My books are very compact. They're very resourceful. You can read that book probably in a couple of hours, but I promise you, you're going to refer back to the book along your journey. And so, we will be sharing in the members only chat will be uh, supersize what's in my book. So, again, become a member. But if you don't become a member, you're not ready, that is totally fine. You'll have access to my videos still. You'll also have access to the live talk with me once a month. I may be able to get to your questions. I may not be able to get to your questions, but I'm sure you'll be able to find resourceful information in what I'll be sharing. And hopefully and prayerfully, it will positively impact your caregiving journey. And that's the goal of why I'm doing this. I think it's going to be wonderful. And I appreciate, again, you guys being here tonight. See you later.